Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about what you need to think about when you are raising chickens. I'm going to be focusing on free range chickens because that's the experience, although limited, that I have. Okay, so you have to think about before you even get your chickens, what can go wrong, for the chickens. I've got some notes here so that I can just remember certain points. Okay, so you have to think about what you are trying to protect your chickens from. Okay, so chickens need to be protected from predators. Okay, chickens also need a good environment in terms of temperature. They don't want to be too hot, they don't want to be too cold, otherwise you'd be leaving them out to the environment and you wouldn't need to build a chicken coop. Okay, but you do need to have them in an enclosed facility, especially for the night, because you do want to manage the temperature exposure. Okay, you need to think about the size and shape, because depending on the number of chickens that you have, you might have different size needs. Okay, ventilation, the movement of air in and out. So when chickens are in a coop, obviously there's waste matter and all of that, so you have to think about the flow of air in and out, how you're going to be able to get in and out yourself, how you're going to be able to clean the coop as well. Okay, so you also want to think about the lighting. Okay, so the materials that you're going to be using also have to take into consideration how much light can get in, because you have to think about yourself as well. If you were to live inside, how much light can get in, and that light will also affect the environment that the chickens will be living under as well. Cleanliness. Okay, so you want to be able to get in and out and clean the coop yourself should you have to. So here I just wanted to show you the size of the chicken coop from a distance, just to give you an indication for the amount of chickens that we have, about 40, and 3 roosters. Okay, so I just wanted to show you inside the chicken coop. This size for us is enough for we've got about 40 chickens, including roosters that are also breeding here. So this serves the same purpose for sleeping as well as to breed. We've got sections where the chickens can hatch their eggs, and also to incubate their eggs. Okay, so right now we've got about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, the side, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 chambers for breeding. Okay, and it's enough for the amount of chickens that we have here. We had a situation where sometimes the chickens would just leave their eggs everywhere. I'll show you outside some of the teething issues we had with chickens leaving their eggs everywhere. Okay, so this area, the chickens use it to sleep as well. We've got these wooden structures. Chickens don't like to sleep on the floor. Okay, so they sleep high up. So in your design, you need to accommodate for the fact that the chickens will want to sleep high up. Okay, so all these wooden structures that you see at the top, that's where the chickens sleep at night. They hardly sleep on the floor. Okay, what you also want to consider in your coop design, you want to raise the floor. Okay, because chickens make droppings that are everywhere, and it makes it hard for you to clean if the floor level is not elevated. So you need to be able to also get in so that you can clean. If you look at it at this now, this is a kind of a structure where I can get in. I can just use a rake and rake out the droppings. Okay, we've got wooden shavings on the floor. They make it comfortable for the chickens, as also just to mix in with the droppings, because you don't want to be stepping on the droppings as they are. So it absorbs the moisture of the droppings, just to keep it clean in between the cleans. Okay, So it's very important to keep the chicken coop clean, and you have to make it easy for yourself to be able to clean. If you look at that section there, initially when that was created, it was very small. It wasn't elevated like you see now. Where the zinc structure starts is where the coop used to end before. Okay, so my husband extended it to raise the height. Before then, you would have to crouch in and be on your floors while cleaning, and it made it very hard. So consider that for yourself as well when you are designing the chicken coop, to make sure that you can get in and still be standing upright when you are cleaning. Okay, so basically this is it. This structure is enough for about 40 chickens for them to brood, to drop their eggs and also incubate. But it is not enough for the chickens when they've hatched to raise their chicks. Okay, so I'll show you what we did for that. So initially we used this section. This section wasn't raised like it is right now. It was straight on the floor. We used it to keep the mothers when they had hatched their chicks, to keep them here, but it was too small, and also it wasn't warm enough for the chicks. What also used to happen is that there would be competition. Like, for example, if three mothers hatch their chicks and they get in here, there will be competition for food, for space, and we had a huge loss of chicks. You'll find every day you'll find like 3 chicks lying on the floor. The chickens would peck them on their head and they would die. So this wasn't working for us. We would keep them here, and during the day we had an opening to a section which I'll show you just now. So during the day, the chicks would come out here with their mothers, and this was enough space for all of them. But they would just compete for food, they would compete for space, and we had a lot of issues here. Maybe we were not able to maintain the healthy life of the chicks as well, and they would just die. It was just not working out. So we're not using this for chicks. We are using the enclosed space with the lighting, so it keeps the chicks warm. After the chickens hatch the chicks, we take them away from their mother and we raise them inside where there is light for warmth, and basically we give them their feed and we give them their water, so we're able to monitor how the chicks are living, and the living conditions for the chicks for while they are in the enclosed space. So with chicks, I think chicks are the hardest part of raising chickens. When the chickens are old, they basically, just to make sure that they are warm and it's clean, and you give them yellow maize. Basically, that's it. You don't have to worry so much because they're free range chickens. They are stronger in their immune system. We just give them certain supplements now and then, which I'll talk to you about on another video. But essentially, raising big chickens is easier than raising chicks, okay? And we hadn't had success with raising chicks up until now. So I'll talk to you more about chicks later on. So this is where we keep our chicks. Okay, what you see right now, these are very big chicks now, so they need to move out, and we're still busy with the construction of their house that will keep them in the outside. It will basically be pretty much the same as the chicken house that you saw now. We'll put planks so that they can stay up. As you can see, they like to stay up. They don't like to really stay on the floor. So right now where they are here, it's not enough in terms of the plank structures that are elevated for them. So that's why you see some on the floor, but chickens don't like to be on the floor. But I just want to show you how you need to set up for chicks, okay? Chicks like to be warm, especially from when they just been hatched. They like to be warm. So every time a chicken hatches, we take them away from their mother and we give them a stress pack. It's called a stress pack. It's with vitamins, and it just helps the chicken to adapt from where they were with their mother, and to just adjust to the coop and everything. So we give them that and we let them stay here. Basically, we give them a starter feed, That takes them for a few days, maybe about 4 or 5 days, and then after that we give them a grower feed. Okay, so I'll show you just now the small chicks. So these are the small chicks. It's actually not advisable to keep them so many in a small section. We've sectioned them out from the bigger ones because they were picking on them, but we're trying to quickly sort out our space for the bigger ones, the 3-month-old, outside, so that these ones can roam around freely in this space and not be disturbed by the bigger ones. Basically, we are just keeping them here until we finish our structure for the bigger chicks now, and they'll be free to run around here as well, just like the bigger ones. So you can see this entire enclosed area is got lamps. Heat lamps are very important for chicks. We learned that the hard way. They like to be kept warm, so initially when we didn't have heat lamps, they will just die because it's hard for them to maintain their temperature, so they need the heat lamps. So and they regulate themselves. They stay under the heat lamp while they need to be warm, and then they'll just move away from the heat lamp when they are no longer needing the heat. So you just need to provide a heat source for them, and they will come to it when they need it. Okay, so this is the other thing we had to think about. Right outside the chicken coop, this is the boundary of the property. And you can see we struggled initially when we brought in the chickens. They would want to cross over and go and sleep like on top of there was a bigger tree here, and they would want to go and sleep in that tree, or just roam around, and sometimes they'd get lost. We lost one chick because they just wandered like far and they couldn't find their way back. Okay, so this is the other thing you need to think about. When you are housing chickens, you need to think about their boundaries and how you're going to secure their boundaries. So we ended up putting this plastic here. It looks a bit untidy, but we tried with the mesh, but they were still able to get through. So we ended up putting this black plastic to prevent the chickens from escaping. And what happens when they escape? They're no longer protected, because there's wild animals that prey on chicken on the other side, and we know that there is a wild animal that eats chickens this side. So we have to do our best to keep them, and that's why as much as they are free range chickens, when they are younger, we keep them in a space where they can be protected from hawks as well as predators that run on the ground. So this is what we had to do to secure the chickens inside our property. When they're inside our property, we also had to further make sure, depending on the size, if they're small enough for the hawk to catch them, then we need to keep them in an enclosed area. Okay. This is the perimeter, guys, at the back of the chicken house. So when they are younger, we keep them in this enclosed space with the mesh. Okay, so this is all DIY, guys. It's not the most beautiful chicken coop, but it's something that we did ourselves with just some mesh wire, some zinc, and some wooden planks. All in all, guys, I just want to say to you, don't feel limited to start, okay? Because if you think about all the designs that you see on Pinterest or on Google, you will not be able to start. Start with something basic. Start with a few chickens so that you won't be stretched in terms of what kind of a structure you need to build. And then as your needs grow, you will be able to accommodate those with time as well. But start small and start. Chickens are not as complicated as we think they are. Depending on the type of breeds that you have and how strong they are in terms of your management practices as well, at making sure that they maintain their health. Pretty much the design doesn't have to be complicated. It's basic. As long as the environment is conducive to keeping them healthy, making sure that they are clean, making sure that they can breathe fresh air, making sure that your chicks are protected from other mother chicks. You don't want to be mixing mother chicks as well. So that's another thing that I want to talk about as well, is the accommodation of chicks and their mothers. We learned very harshly that you cannot mix mother chicks with other chicks, because there will be a lot of competition, and we lost a lot of chicks from that, because the other mothers wanted to secure, obviously, the environment and the food for their own chicks, and they will pick on the competition, and they ended up killing a lot of chicks that way. So what we are doing now to avoid that is, as soon as, almost immediately, we started keeping the mother chicks and their chicks for like 2 weeks in the coop, and it wasn't working. So immediately now, as they hatch, we take the chicks away and we put them in the enclosure that I showed you before, and we keep them warm, exactly how the mother would be doing as well. So as soon as they hatch, we take them away and we put them in the separate structure that we have for them, just so that they can grow bigger. Once they grow big enough, we put them back out to the chicken coop, where they can mix with other chickens, and during the day they can roam around. While they are still not big enough to roam around, we let them stay in an enclosure like I showed you, so that we can protect them from predators, and then after that they'll be free to roam around. But guys, I am encouraging you to start, and even after you have followed all the tips that you can find on the internet, you will find that you will make mistakes. And that's the only way to learn. The only way to learn is to start something, make mistakes, and then improve on that. But it's something that's very rewarding, because chickens multiply very quickly. As long as you learn the right management practices, you'll be able to be rewarded for all your work. Okay, so like and subscribe on my channel, and also share this video with your friends. Comment below if you've got more experience. We are very happy to learn from you as well.